Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Rewatch. My name is Samuel,
And I'm Jayden.
and today we're giving our thoughts. We're giving a rewatch review on the first episode of season 2 of The Mandalorian.
Yep.
Before we get into it, obviously, major spoiler warning for season 2 of The Mandalorian, but also a spoiler warning for season 1. But let's be real, if you haven't seen season 1, you're not here.
No.
So, speaking of which, before we dive into this episode, do you want to give your quick thoughts on season 1 of The Mandalorian? What did you think of it?
Yeah, let's do it. So I really like the characters that they brought in season 1, and obviously we haven't really seen many of them return yet. I think the only returning character we saw in season 2 was that chick with the
That Afro lady.
Yeah, with the droids. But no, I really like the characters that they brought in season 1. Obviously, they're all fresh faces. Apart from the Mandalorian, who actually played a role in Kingsman 2, is Agent Whiskey, I think. But you don't really see his face, so having a whole new cast is really refreshing. It's kind of like what they did with Harry Potter. No, I really think that the episodes were of a good length. Keeping the season 2 a short of, I think it was 9 episodes, is also really smart. And Jon Favreau, man, he's just so good at doing what the people and the fans love for Star Wars. Like, he just delivers every single time. So yeah, overall, I think season 1 was really good, and I'm really excited for what they're bringing in season 2.
Yeah, I agree. I think Mandalorian season 1 almost single-handedly saved Disney's Star Wars because we saw with the sequel trilogy, Disney were doing the best they could to make the fans mad, to turn us off Star Wars, to turn us off their abysmal and complete trash sequel trilogy. So there is a lot of weight resting on Jon Favreau's shoulders for season 1 of The Mandalorian, and I don't think that season 1 was particularly risky. I think it was very safe, but it was good. It wasn't great, it was just good. And to be honest, Star Wars fans, there's this myth that Star Wars fans are very hard to please. That's not the case at all. We're very easily pleased, and you give us something good. It doesn't have to be great. Give us something good and we will love it and cherish it. So I enjoyed season 1. I was excited for season 2, not as excited as I was for, say, The Force Awakens or anything like that.
Yeah.
But no, I was looking forward to it, and so yeah, I gave it a watch the day it was released. So you were excited for the episode to come out?
Oh yeah, I'm so excited, and especially with all the rumors. Well, not rumors, but the confirmed cast I've got. I mean, we've got Tamira Morrison as BOBA FETT. They're just bringing back so many characters from the original trilogy, and of the Clone Wars as well. We're seeing Ahsoka. Rosario Dawson's going to dawn the role of Ahsoka, and we had I think Captain Rex was also rumored, maybe confirmed, and if so, Tamira Morrison would also be playing him because obviously he plays the clones. So it isn't, again, it's a safe decision what they're doing, bringing back all these returning characters that everyone likes, because I mean, how are you going to mess up when everyone likes them? It's kind of what they did in season 1 where they brought in a baby Yoda. No one's going to hate a baby Yoda. It just makes sense. So again, it's a safe decision, but it just makes sense to do it. Like, all of these characters fit into the story so well. So I mean, Jon Favreau, he's playing it safe, but he's playing it well.
For sure. Let's go to the opening scene. What did you think of that opening shot of Mando walking up the stairs with Baby Yoda and going into the fight club essentially? And he's got Baby Yoda with him. He's got the child with him. Probably quite an irresponsible father, but he's doing his best, I think. And what did you think about the fight that took place there, and sort of the opening scene to sort of set the tone for this season going forward?
Yeah, so obviously we see Mandalorian go to this sort of fight club area, and it's a very dangerous area, and for me, I wouldn't have brought a child there to start with, because as the Mandalorian said, he said, wherever I go, he goes, or is it wherever he goes, I go? Either one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad parenting, let's be honest, because you're meant to bring a child to a fight club. But in terms of the fight choreography, I thought it was done quite well. It was quite thrilling, and we see John. I think it's John Leguizamo as Gore Koresh, so the one-eyed. I think he's a Gamorrean guard. Maybe I'm not sure what
Mm.
it is. So we see him, which I thought was quite an interesting character, but he only had a few minutes of screen time before the Mandalorian goes all raiding on us, and we see we see
Yeah,
some shadow monsters maul him to death in the background while the Mandalorian walks away into the darkness. So
yeah,
it's
it's quite
established
dark.
the tone for the season. Let's say that.
Yeah, no, and I love that tone. Usually I thought it was quite dark for Star Wars. I was thinking, well, that's a bit, you didn't see anything as gruesome as that. Not even from Kylo Ren
No, yeah,
in, or Snoke even in the sequel trilogy. And so no, I really like that tone, and I also love the fact that Jon Favreau is obviously a fan of Star Wars, and he wants to include all of those different types of aliens
yeah,
and different types of creatures, and I really love that about Star Wars. It's the sort of the diversity of not just the humans. I mean, Disney's got it caught up of making sure they have diversity of different races and everything like that, and that's fine.
mm,
But Star Wars isn't necessarily about that. It's about the diversity of the entire universe
mm.
and all of those creatures. So I was really excited to see the guards from Return of the Jedi who are actually fighting
Yeah,
in
the
the ring.
Gamorrean guards. Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. I really enjoyed that. Return of the Jedi is one of my favorites. So there's Jon Favreau trying to get a bit of nostalgia from me, and there you go.
Mm.
Yeah, he satisfied that need. That's for sure. But no, I really like that opening scene. What did you think of the effects of this episode in this movie? Obviously, we have a massive sand creature. It's you know, a dragon, a
Yeah.
massive dragon, obviously completely CGI. What did you think of like the effects, not only for that, but just of the whole episode in general?
So I think what they've done for the season 2 of The Mandalorian is they've definitely upped the budget because now they know how much it can produce after the testing they had for season 1. So yeah, they've definitely upped the budget. So the CGI is definitely improved, and things like what's his ship called? It's gonna come.
The Razor Crest?
Yeah, the Razor Crest. Things like the Razor Crest flying through the sky. It just looks like it's straight out of a Star Wars movie. Like it's on that
Mm.
level. And even like the massive sand creature was just done spectacularly as well. I mean, going through the ground, that would be pretty hard to animate with all of the sand particles and such. But one thing I did notice when this chapter first opened was the Mandalorian and the child were walking out of the darkness. And I think I said this to you. I don't know, it just looked a bit weird because obviously for the Mandalorian, if you didn't know, they use, I think it's LED screens, so they don't use green screens. They just put the image directly on the screen and then they just walk in front of it. So it's like a 3D environment, and I don't know, it just didn't really work for me because it looked like it hadn't had any editing really done to it. It just looked like it was just raw footage, and I don't know, it looked a bit choppy to me. But that was the only thing that I picked out on this episode that kind of really stood out to me. Everything else, I mean, the CGI was just spectacular, and even the practical effects as well of all of the creatures, because I don't think any of the creatures in the Mandalorian are special effects. I think a lot of them are just practical effects with masks and such on.
No, I agree. It's definitely limited by the budget of
Yeah.
the series, and so that's a major struggle of TV shows, and especially Star Wars TV show. We expect explosions and big monsters and everything like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, got to sympathize with Jon Favreau there trying to stretch that budget. I think that's why, by the way, the monster stayed underground for most of the
Yeah,
episode.
maybe that's the reason.
Yeah, and I was definitely getting a bit of Dune vibes. So yeah, probably a bit of inspiration from Dune there. But yeah, definitely keeping that monster underground for the sake of the budget.
Yeah.
But no, I thought that monster was pretty cool. Having such a having a dragon underground is a pretty interesting concept. Obviously, we see like a bantha get like completely. It was like a shark attack almost, but like the shark's just like under the ground. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely, it was a really cool monster. And apparently, there's been some that's sort of paying homage to the EU, so the extended universe, and that obviously all of the books and the comics that Disney came in and said, oh no, we don't want any of that. We're going to do our own thing, and look how good that's done for them. And so now they're relying on you know, the old material, as John Favreau likes to do,
Yeah,
because he knows what's up.
he knows
But
when the
yes, I
time's
enjoyed
right.
that. Yeah. So the story in this episode was sort of like Mando's trying to find more Mandalorians, and by finding more Mandalorians, he's going to find some Jedi apparently.
Mm,
So that's the story. But as usual with Mando, he gets stuck doing something in order to, take a small step towards the larger goal in the season. And so we start off not with not really much progress. The only progress that we get is that Din Djarin, so the Mandalorian, walks away with Boba Fett's armor.
mm.
So let's talk about that for a second. What was your first thought when Boba Fett's armor showed up on um, on the body of an unknown human?
Yeah.
What were your thoughts when that happened? Because it was quite an awesome reveal.
Honestly, first thoughts, the thing I was thinking was, why on earth is Boba Fett so goddamn skinny? Like, when he first appeared, I was like, hold up. That ain't my Boba Fett. That's not the Boba Fett I know. He's wearing some red under
Yeah.
clothing and he's, I don't know, it just didn't look like Boba Fett. So right off the bat, I knew it wasn't Boba Fett. But no, it's so exciting to see Boba Fett return to Star Wars canonically. I mean, we've seen him, obviously younger in the Clone Wars, and we've seen him in other Star Wars media like Lego games and I think some maybe other games, but I'm not sure. We haven't really seen him in the main Star Wars spotlight in his older self for quite some time, and I think the last
Mm.
appearance was Return of the Jedi, which was 37 years ago in 1983. So it has been 37 years since we've seen anyone don the armor of Boba Fett. And I think it was such a smart decision bringing Tamira Morrison back from the prequel trilogy to play Boba Fett, because obviously he is a clone, and Boba Fett is a clone of Jango Fett, and he played Jango Fett in, I think it was Attack of the Clones. So
Yeah.
a really smart decision there. But Timothy Olyphant, who plays Cobb Vanth, or the Marshal in this chapter, no, I think he did quite a good job. But I don't know, he didn't really fit into the Star Wars universe for me. It felt a bit weird. Like I was kind of questioning, whether he really played a big role in the story, and it felt a bit unnecessary to me. Like it felt like one of those episodes where in the Clone Wars where they are trying to protect a village or save the village, and that's not what I like about the Clone Wars, and that's not what
Yeah.
I really want to see in the Mandalorian.
It was a bit of a stall, wasn't it? This was probably my main issue with the first season, is it felt like the plot was very simple, but Mando just kept on getting stuck in bad situations.
Yeah.
So every episode, I was hoping for, a continuation of the main story, and it looked like we would get that. And then, oh wait, Mando's in a bad situation. He needs to get out. He needs to kill these people. Oh, he's gotten out. He's back to square one. Episode ends. It's like it's a bit of filler, isn't it?
Yeah, it's no doubt that the main two characters are obviously the child, Baby Yoda, and Din Djarin. Is it Din Djarin?
Yeah.
Din Djarin, the Mandalorian. And it just felt like we weren't getting enough Baby Yoda in this episode, because the Mandalorian, the essential plotline that we're still following from season 1, is trying to return the species to his people, and it just felt like we weren't really getting that in this episode. The episode was about destroying this sand creature and saving the city, and I don't know, it felt like it could have been an episode halfway through this season, but as a starter, I don't know, I felt like they probably should have gone a different direction.
Yeah, because obviously the main plot is we need to return Baby Yoda to Force-sensitive people, or his species or whatever. But then, as soon as Din Djarin sees that this imposter is wearing Mandalorian armor, he just completely forgets that. And you know what? Fair enough. It's his creed or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really hope that they don't repeat the same mistakes of just sort of dragging the season out.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as this episode was okay, it was a good episode. It was, entertaining. It was a bit long, but it was entertaining. And so, if we get continuously more of those, people are going to tune out. Like, we need to get some progress. But we saw Tamura Morrison at the end as Boba Fett.
That's what's
Um,
keeping me on. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. So that's surely going to lead into something in the next couple episodes. And obviously, Dave Filoni is directing like the 6th episode or something, so we can hope that Ahsoka's going to come back in that one, and that'll be an awesome episode, I'm sure. But it was cool to see Tatooine again. It was cool to see Din Djarin go back to Tatooine, all of
Yeah.
the nostalgia shots there, and the Sand People. How the Mandalorian can speak Sand People language is beyond me.
We will never know.
That was really confusing because it seems like they're not even making noises in their mouth. Like it's just
Yeah.
this odd sound.
Yeah.
But oh well. And I was watching a video by a man called RK Outpost, who's an EU scholar perhaps. And he was saying the fact the Sand People and the Bantha, their relationship is sacred.
Oh yeah.
It's like one would never go anywhere without the other. If a Sand person lost their Bantha or their Bantha died, the Sand person would be forced to venture out into the wilderness and perhaps die unless he found another Bantha, because their relationship was that sacred. And so they'd always protect them. So he was saying he had a major issue with the fact that they used Banthas as bait in the movie. And he also said that he had an issue with the Sand People using weapons that weren't made of the land. So obviously in episode 1, Phantom Menace, the Sand People come in to shoot the pod racers. Now, why do they do that? It's because they're using technology on their land and they don't like the technology.
Yeah.
They're a very ancient sort of, conservative sort of race. And they don't like this technology going over their land. So they had major issue with that. He found the fact that the Sand People just like went along with the Mandalorian's ideas quite jarring in terms of the lore. But you have to take liberties, I guess. But still got to respect the founding lore of Star Wars. So yeah, be careful, Jon Favreau, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you spot all the other Easter eggs though?
I didn't really spot them until you told me about them. So do you want to go through them?
Yeah, so obviously Boba Fett's armor, that's the obvious one.
Yeah.
We've seen that before. R4 or we get a droid that's in A New Hope. We can actually see that a certain part of the droid has been like blown up or has like some scarring around it, and that's the part that blows up in A New Hope. So that's quite cool. And but this is the one that I sort of have issue with. Obviously there's a lot of Easter eggs in this Tatooine village here. And then the Marshal, so the character played by Timothy Olyphant, he has Anakin's pod racer, or like Anakin's thing, and for me that's a bit too far. Like we can have a few Easter eggs, but if this man has Boba Fett's armor, he shouldn't have Anakin's pod racer as well. Like it's a bit of a small world, I guess. But it just seems like a very big coincidence there. So yeah, I'm fine to have fan service and Easter eggs, but if there's too much, it becomes a bit unrealistic.
Yeah.
What did you think of the music in this episode? The music was a highlight of last season, that's for sure.
Oh, I love the composing by Ludwig Göransson. You just gotta love it. The man's a genius for taking what Star Wars is so known about. John Williams has kind of established the Star Wars theme, and then Ludwig Göransson enters the picture and does something completely different, but it still feels like Star Wars somehow. And I absolutely love that. I love that he's gone a completely different direction and it still fits Star Wars and The Mandalorian. I feel like it just works so perfectly. So no critiques there. I think it's done well. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love the music. But yeah, overall, I think it was a good episode. Look forward to next week's episode, because they are releasing on a weekly basis. So it's going to be fun to follow this along. And hopefully that plot sort of accelerates a bit further. We get to see what Boba Fett wants with our Mandalorian. But yeah, so stay tuned for that one, everybody. We'll try and release these weekly with our sort of impressions and reaction to the latest episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, bye for now.
See ya.